Hey everybody, welcome back to another weekly dividend portfolio update. This will be episode 4 in the series. Just as a reminder, we will be going through my portfolio's performance for the week for both my Wealthsimple Trade and Qtrade account. We will then be comparing my portfolio's performance against the S&P 500 and the S&P TSX to see how it compares. I'll also show you any dividends I received for the week and any new purchases I made. Lastly, I will show you my top 3 biggest losers and winners of the week. First up, we have my Wealthsimple Trade portfolio, where I was up $110.96, or 0.79% for the week. Wealthsimple Trade does round off to the nearest percentage, which is why you see 1% on the screen. Up next, we have my Qtrade portfolio, where I was up a whopping 29 cents, or 0.002% on the week. What are the odds that this portfolio is almost dead even after a full week of volatility? When we combine both portfolios, I was up a total of $111.25, or 0.42% on the week. I'm happy to see that my portfolio finally had a green week in the series, as I was getting a little worried. If we look at the S&P 500 performance this week, we can see that it was up 1.19%. Early in the week, there was a rather big drop due to the Evergrande debacle, but we did see the markets come back nicely during the second half of the week. Looking at the S&P TSX performance this week, it was up 0.58%, and you'll notice the same up and down trends as the S&P 500 had. When we compare my portfolio's performance against the indexes, I'm not too happy as I did underperform, mainly due to my Qtrade portfolio as it barely went up. And again, this portfolio is where I only have 5 holdings, which are TD, Enbridge, Bank of Nova Scotia, Bell, and a REIT ETF. That being said, in the past 3 weeks, we also saw that my portfolio did maintain its value better during the red weeks, so you can't win them all. Getting to the dividends that I received this week, I didn't receive any in my Qtrade account, but I did receive 2 dividends in my Wealthsimple Trade account. First up was Manulife, ticker MFC, on September 20th, where I received $8.96. This is a quarterly dividend, and Manulife is one of my biggest holdings in this portfolio. The other dividend was from Suncor, ticker SU, who paid me $6.51 on September 24th. This is another quarterly dividend, and you will see Suncor again later on in this video, as they are also one of my biggest winners of the week. This brings my total dividends for the month of September to $115.15. Now there are still a few days left in September, so I am hoping there will be enough dividends to make it my best month yet. I did make a contribution this week of $130. I then used these funds and past dividends to make a purchase of a new holding for this portfolio. I purchased Canadian Tire, ticker CTC.A. Now I did not have enough to purchase a full share, so I was able to take advantage of Wealthsimple Trade's new feature, fractional shares, where I purchased 0.9 of a share at the current price of $192.06, which cost me a total of $172.99. The reason I chose Canadian Tire was because I was looking through my portfolio to see if I could add to any existing positions, but none of the stocks really stood out to me as a great deal. So I started doing some research about other possible dividend stocks that could be a good buying opportunity. Looking at Canadian Tire's starting yield of 2.45% may not seem like much, but I believe they will continue to grow this dividend by quite a bit, and we'll get into some metrics on why this might be the case. First up is that they have a payout ratio of 28.76%. which is very low and means they have plenty of room to continue to grow their dividends without having to worry about it taking away too much from their earnings. They also have a 5-year average dividend growth rate of over 17%. So this gives me confidence that the company is interested in growing its dividends over time and they want to do it fast. And lastly, we can see that Canadian Tire has been paying dividends for 34 years, which shows me a good long track record. So not only does Canadian Tire have the room to grow its dividend, but the company has shown that they want to, and that they want to keep paying dividends each and every year. I also like to take a look at Analyst Predictions to see what they think about the stock and where it might go. We can see from this that most analysts are rating Canadian Tire as a buy, which falls in line with my opinion. The average price target is also about 18% higher than the current stock price. Now, I don't recommend using these predictions as a big part of why you should buy a stock, but I use it to see if it lines up with my own research that I did, which for Canadian Tire, it does. We will now look at my top 3 biggest losers and winners of the week, starting off with the losers. First up is Algonquin Power, ticker AQN, which was down 1.69% this week. We then have Power Corp of Canada, ticker POW, which was down 1.85% this week. And my biggest loser was Maple Leaf Foods, ticker MFI, which was down 4.92% on the week. This was surprising to me as this company had a pretty good week last week. Overall, other than Maple Leaf Foods, we didn't see too big of losses. Now time for some good stocks. Let's look at my biggest winners of the week. First up is Nutrien, ticker NTR, which was up 4.59% for the week. Next up is Suncor, ticker SU, which was up 6.67% this week. Suncor was also one of my biggest winners last episode as well. And my biggest winner was Canadian Natural Resources, ticker CNQ, which was up almost 7.5% this week. And as you can see, this was another good week for oil stocks. And that is my portfolio update for the week. Hopefully next week is another green one so that we can balance things out in this series. Please let me know in the comments how your portfolios did for the week, and if there's anything else you want me to include in these weekly portfolio updates.